The balance of global power is shifting. For the past century, the United States stood at the top, the economic, military, and cultural superpower of the world. But today, another nation is challenging that dominance: China. The question is no longer if China will rise, but how far it can go, and whether America can stop it. Every empire faces decline, and America is no exception. Decades of offshoring, political polarization, debt expansion, and cultural fragmentation have weakened its foundation. Manufacturing that once fueled the American dream moved overseas. The dollar remains strong, but the nation's productivity, trust, and unity are eroding from within. History doesn't collapse overnight. It erodes in silence. While the West was celebrating the end of history and the triumph of liberal democracy, China was quietly playing a different game. It wasn't a game of ideology, but one of pragmatism, patience, and immense ambition. As Western nations reveled in the perceived victory of globalization, China was meticulously strategizing, viewing this new interconnected world not as an endpoint, but as an opportunity. They saw the global economic system as a tool, a ladder they could climb. The prevailing Western view was that economic integration would inevitably lead China to become more like them, democratic, open, and aligned with Western values. This was a fundamental miscalculation. China's leaders had no intention of becoming a mirror image of the West. Instead, they were laying the groundwork for a long-term plan, one that would leverage Western capital and technology to fuel their own ascent, all while maintaining their unique political and social structure. The masterstroke began with Deng Xiaoping's sweeping reforms in 1978. His famous mantra, "Hide your strength, bide your time," became the nation's guiding principle. China opened its doors to the world, but on its own terms. It wasn't a surrender to foreign influence, but a calculated absorption of knowledge. They established special economic zones, creating controlled laboratories for capitalism, where they could learn, adapt, and innovate without disrupting the core political system. They invited foreign companies in, studied their manufacturing processes, reverse-engineered their technologies, and absorbed their management techniques. China positioned itself not as a passive follower in the new global order, but as its most diligent and fastest-learning student. Every joint venture, every factory, every piece of imported machinery was a lesson. The result was the most rapid and large-scale economic transformation in human history. In just 4 decades, China catapulted from a state of widespread poverty to become the undisputed manufacturing hub of the world. It built the largest infrastructure network on Earth, constructing more highways, high-speed rail, ports, and power plants in a decade than most nations build in a century. This wasn't just about economic growth. It was about creating the physical backbone for a future superpower. This monumental effort lifted an astonishing 800 million people out of poverty, generating trillions of dollars in exports and creating a new, aspiring middle class. But beneath this economic miracle was a silent, unwavering promise, a national consensus understood by all. One day, we won't just make the world's products, we will design them. We won't just follow the rules of the global system, we will write them. We won't just be a player in the future, we will define it. The era of biding time was coming to an end. The era of asserting strength was about to begin. China's economic transformation is a story of unprecedented scale and velocity. For over 3 decades, its economy grew at an astonishing average of 9 to 10% per year, an achievement no major nation in modern history has ever matched. This wasn't just growth, it was a complete reinvention. The world watched as a nation of 1 billion people mobilized with a singular focus, executing a long-term vision with disciplined precision. This relentless expansion lifted 800 million people out of poverty, creating the largest middle class on Earth and fundamentally reshaping the global economic order. While the West debated, China built. It constructed a staggering infrastructure network, the arteries of a new superpower. This includes over 40,000 kilometers of high-speed rail, more than the rest of the world combined, connecting its sprawling population centers. It erected megacities like Shenzhen, which morphed from a quiet collection of fishing villages into a bustling metropolis of 17 million people, a global hub for technology and finance. This physical foundation was built to support an even larger ambition: to become the world's manufacturing heartland. Today, China is responsible for over 28% of all global production, a titan of industry whose factories supply the world. This manufacturing dominance has translated into immense financial power. China now holds the world's largest foreign exchange reserves, a war chest of over $3 trillion that gives it unparalleled stability and leverage in international markets. It has methodically secured control over key global supply chains, from rare earth minerals essential for modern electronics to the components that power the green energy revolution. And it has begun to weaponize its currency, the yuan. Through trade deals, loans, and digital currency initiatives, Beijing is slowly chipping away at the dominance of the US dollar, turning economic partnership into a tool of geopolitical influence. But China is no longer content to be just the world's factory. It is now racing to become the world's laboratory. While America's economy is largely driven by consumer spending, China's is driven by strategic state investment. It is pouring hundreds of billions into the technologies of tomorrow: artificial intelligence, quantum computing, biotechnology, and renewable energy. From electric vehicles and solar panels to 5G and semiconductors, China is not just chasing Western innovation. It is positioning itself to define the next 50 years of technological progress on its own terms. This is the engine of a new century. For decades, China copied Western tech. Now, it's innovating faster. Huawei, BYD, DJI, and Alibaba, symbols of a new wave that blends state control with market speed. In AI, EVs, and renewable energy, China is outspending every other country. In 2023 alone, it filed more patents than the US, Japan, and Germany combined. The student has become the competitor, and soon, the teacher. While America fights wars, China builds roads and ports. The Belt and Road Initiative has connected over 150 countries, a $1 trillion network of influence. Through loans, construction, and trade, China doesn't conquer territories. It binds them economically. Influence today isn't about armies. It's about dependency. And many nations now depend more on Beijing than on Washington. America's biggest threat isn't China. It's itself. Polarization, debt exceeding $34 trillion, and a generation losing faith in the American dream. While China builds infrastructure, America builds narratives. While China focuses on 50-year plans, America struggles with 4-year election cycles. Power fades not by defeat, but by distraction. Culture is power, and China understands that. While American influence once spread through movies, music, and tech, China's soft power grows through media, digital platforms, and infrastructure diplomacy. TikTok, for example, isn't just entertainment. It's a window into global influence. For the first time in modern history, the West is being influenced by the East. The world is no longer unipolar. America remains strong, militarily, culturally, technologically, but the monopoly is over. China is not replacing the US, it's redefining the game. A world where power is shared, not dominated. And in that world, alliances shift, currencies compete, and influence becomes the new battlefield. History moves in cycles, a relentless tide that lifts some civilizations while pulling others back to shore. We are living through one such turn of the tide. For a century, the world looked to one nation as its center of gravity. But the magnetic poles of power are shifting. Empires rise, they reach a zenith, and then, inevitably, they face the challenge of reinvention or decline. This is not a story of one nation's fall, but of another's calculated, methodical ascent. While America debated its identity, China was building its future, brick by digital brick. While one power projected its influence through military might, the other wove a web of economic dependence, creating a new kind of empire built on infrastructure and investment. The 21st century will not belong to a single nation waving a single flag. It will be defined by a new contest, a competition of systems, ideas, and execution. It will belong to those who can adapt the fastest, learn from their rivals, and harness the relentless pace of technological change. America still possesses an unparalleled engine of creativity and individual genius. China has demonstrated an astonishing capacity for long-term strategy and collective discipline. One thrives on disruption, the other on order. China's rise is not America's end. It is, however, a profound and necessary warning. It is a mirror held up to a great power, reflecting its complacency, its divisions, and its neglected foundations. This new reality serves as a stark reminder that the future is not a birthright. It must be built, day by day. It belongs to whoever can innovate with purpose, build with foresight, and lead with a vision that looks beyond the next election cycle, toward the next generation. It belongs to those who lead with humility, not arrogance. The great contest of our time has begun. And in this century, power is not inherited from the past. It is earned every single day on the global stage.